Hi guys, we are back. It has been a long while since I have filmed a YouTube video. A lot has happened, so I asked my Instagram followers to give me some questions or things they've been wondering, so I'm gonna come on here and answer them. Okay, so I think most of you are here watching because you want to know the one question I have been asked so many times is, why did you move from Hawaii? Give us the story. How was it living in Hawaii? I have a lot of questions about that, so I'm gonna start with why I moved and what happened in Hawaii. Okay, so basically, I'm gonna give you guys the whole rundown of why I moved there. I was not actually born in Hawaii, if you guys didn't know, and I'm gonna give you guys a story time on what happened and why I decided to move. So I was originally born in Chino Hills, California, and that's where all of my siblings were born. And then in 2018, we moved to Florida, like January 2018. We lived there for about 6 months and we came back to California. During that time, my parents were going through a divorce, and my parents decided that it would be best to raise in Hawaii. They've always wanted to live there, but they never got the chance to. So 2018, December 4th, we decided to pack all of our things and move to Maui, Hawaii. So we lived there, my parents divorced, and we lived there for almost 7 years. And a lot happened because we were so young when we first moved there, and now we're so much older when we left. So I think Hawaii was such a great place to live personally. I loved it there. It was the beach, there was a good amount of people, not too many people, it was really safe. But as you got older, there was not a lot of opportunity and there was not a lot of things to do. And also, it's such a small place. In Hawaii, there was like 100,000 residents. In Maui, I mean, the island I lived on. And every single person knew everyone. So it was like a little town. And that has definitely pros and cons, but the cons personally made me want to leave. I personally was super content living in Hawaii. I wanted to raise my kids there when I'm older. I want to get married there. I surfed. I had friends. I went to school. It was a great place for me to live and for my younger siblings to live also because when you're younger, you don't really think about your future. And so it's the perfect place to grow up. But I started thinking more. I did my freshman year of high school. I went to public school for the first time. I was in private school my whole life until my freshman year. And it was definitely like so interesting because there were so many people. But it got challenging in around October to January of 2024 and 2025. I got a boyfriend for the first time in November, and there was a big drama, and the entire island was kind of involved, and the police were involved, and it was just not a great situation. And in Hawaii, the police don't have like motivation to do something unless someone is, or like that's like the one thing that the police will actually do when someone is. So any other drama that there is and you have to bring the police in, they really could care less. So in January, I had a big situation with, I had this big friend group, and I had a situation with my ex and the friend group, and it did not go well. I don't want to talk about it that much because I feel like it's so low and I don't want to bring that into my life, but it was just not a great time and it was just really hard, obviously. So that was really difficult, and also I started growing on social media, and in Hawaii, it's not like it's not normal to have social media and have followers. So I quickly grew and like everyone started talking about the famous chick, which was what I was known for. And it was definitely interesting. I feel like every influencer has talked about this, but it's definitely difficult because I lost all my friends. I had no friends living there probably since March. I had no friends. I left Maui High, left private school, like that year ended. I couldn't go back. And it was just really rough. A lot of people did not like me and tried, in Hawaii, a lot of people fight their problems out. So they tried to fight me, but like, it's just not what I wanted. And then in August, I was set to stay there. I was like, you know what, the drama is fine. Like, I love living in an island. In August, I went to my first ever influencer event, which was the Ping Pong Puff pop up. And I flew to LA with my mom, and once I came here, I was like, I never want to go back. I never want to go back to Hawaii. I want to move here. And I just saw, I got so many modeling agencies reaching out to me. I got so many PR agencies reaching out to me. I got invited to event after event after event, and I would be traveling every week. I was doing events, so it didn't make sense for that. As well as all my siblings, Noah, Micah, and Adelina, were homeschooling that year because the schooling is not great in Hawaii. And it just made sense for their future and my future to move. So basically, we go back, my mom and I go back to Hawaii August 15th. And we really thought about it. We're like, my mom has wanted to leave for the past 3 years, but she didn't know how we would feel about it. So we stayed, and we brought up the idea to Noah and Micah, and they were absolutely thrilled. They wanted to leave as well. They don't like the beach. Surprising though, we lived on an island. They don't like the beach. They had no friends. They didn't go to school. They were homeschooling. So it kind of just all aligned perfectly at the same time. As well, this house I'm living in, my grandparents were in the process of moving to Florida. My grandma has already left to Florida, and my grandpa's in the process. They have condos there. So they had a house there, and this is the house that my great grandfather built. And so it was just here. They put it up for sale. So we decided we have a house here. Everyone is homeschooled, and we decided to move. So it was very difficult for my older brother Avi, and my dad, because they did not want to leave. They had a job, and Avi goes to college, and he has a girlfriend there. So they didn't want to leave. But I was like, out. I was so done. So we moved. 2 weeks after my mom and I came back from California, we were renting a house. So we gave our 30-day notice. We packed and got rid of everything in our house. We each only had 2 luggages, and we were off. And now we are in California. We literally made it all the way over here. So I don't really want to go into much detail on like what happened in Hawaii, because it happened with a lot of different people, and I just feel like I don't want to bring their name into this. I think that is a personal matter, because not a lot of things should be brought on social media for the world to see. So that's my reasoning on why I moved without going into detail. There was just a lot of drama, a lot of stuff that happened, a lot more opportunities here, and I am so happy I moved. I think it's the best decision we've ever made in our entire lives. So that is the main question I've been getting, but let's go on to some more questions. Okay, one is, what is your biggest dream? I think, well, my biggest fear also relates to my biggest dream. My biggest fear is not being successful, which kind of sounds weird, but like, I have a fear that, okay, I want 4 children when I'm older, and I'm like really hard. I really am thinking 4 children, and I really never want to worry about money. I never want to worry about that I don't have a job or can't pay rent. I know it's a very difficult economy nowadays, and prices are like all the way up here, but that is my biggest fear. And also like my biggest, why am I going blank, guys? What the heck? Oh, that's also my biggest dream. I want to be very successful, and I want to have a lot of money, and I want to own businesses, and that is my biggest dream. Okay, so my favorite movie and shows, my favorite movie out of like every movie in the whole wide world is Tangled. That literally just touches my heart. I don't know how to explain it. I've memorized every single word in that movie. I love it so much. To this day, it's always been my favorite. And then for shows, Grey's Anatomy is actually like, I cannot. It's so good. I have watched all 21 seasons 4 times. It's the best thing ever. I also love Ginny and Georgia, and Outer Banks is good. The Summer Rides from Pretty, but Grey's Anatomy definitely tops it all off. Okay, what are 5 things I like to do in my free time? I love painting, guys. I don't know if you can tell. This is all my paintings. Well, that's just some of them. I have a lot on the other side of my wall, and I have some in my drawer. I don't know. Like, I just love painting. I went to private school. I was homeschooled, and then I went to private school for 5 years, and then I went to public school, and we had to do art class. It was, like, mandatory. And this is where the big ones, like that one and that one, and that one, and that one. They all came from my art class. I love my art teacher, and I just loved painting so much. I also love surfing. Okay, Sorry. I also love surfing. I have never gone surfing in California yet because my boards are still in Hawaii, which I'm gonna try and get them over here. But surfing in Hawaii was just like it just hit different. I love it. Um, what else do I like to do? I like doing my hair. I always have different hairstyles. My curls have little beef with me sometimes because like they don't like to cooperate. But I like straightening my hair. I love doing my hair. I also love gardening. Like I don't know how to explain it. I just love being in the garden and like planting things. And of course, guys, I love tanning. Sadly, I can't really tan that much here in California. The tan lines are going away, but it's okay. I'll fly to Hawaii to go tan, of course. But those are like the 5 things I really like doing. I also like working. I like posting on social media, and I own a business called Tanning Beach, and I love making jewelry and creating tanning oil. Like that is so fun for me. I just love it. Okay, a lot of people have been asking how tall I am. I'm actually pretty short. A lot of people thought I was taller. I don't think I'm tall at all. I am 5'1.5", 5'2", around there. I like to say I'm 5'3", but like I'm definitely not 5'3". Yeah. So if you ever see me, you're like, oh, she's short. Yeah, I am, guys. But that is my height. Okay. Do you miss living in Hawaii? So I've gotten a lot of these questions about like living in Hawaii and moving because I haven't really like come on here and talked about it. So one, I miss living in Hawaii because my dad was there, my dad's there, and my older brother's there, and I love the beach. So part of me does, but a big part of me is extremely grateful and happy that I moved because I do not think I would like. I don't know where I would be if I still lived in Hawaii. Like I know I only moved 2 months ago, but I feel you don't. I don't know how to explain the feeling I have. Like I'm so happy I moved. I don't know what to relate to that, but yeah, I'm very happy. A lot of people think that my mom forced me to move. That is definitely not the case. It was personally my idea. I told my mom I'm so over living in Hawaii. I really want to leave. And just like everything that went on there, maybe I'll make a video talking about like more in depth on why I moved and like the drama that went down. But it was just a very toxic place that I was in, and the friend group that I was in, and the drama that was going on. It was actually like I think I was the lowest in my life I've ever been from January to I moved. Like I don't know if you guys could tell on social media, but I was so in such a dark place. Like my head was not where it should be. And now I am just so happy. I don't know if you guys can tell, but yeah. Okay, a lot of these questions, what my love life is looking like, guys. I've only been in one relationship. It lasted 2 weeks. He broke up with me. And this is the same thing that happened in January. Like, this is the same guy. And then that's like my only boyfriend I've ever had. And then I like talk to guys and I have gone on like dates, but not enough to like actually have an experience with them. So yeah, I'm just waiting for like a good guy that won't hurt my heart, you know? Even though like I know it's gonna happen, but you know what I'm saying. Okay. Any self-love advice? PS, I love you and your family. I love you too. Um, so it is so interesting because on social media, I'm like talking to a camera right now, which is so weird to like think about actually. But I was just like, I'm a normal person, you know? And I think it's sometimes hard for people to understand because like you guys watch us. So it definitely, I had a very hard time. I was very insecure. I hated how I looked. Even now that I go back to my previous videos, I'm like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with me? Why would I post that? But I feel like everyone has an insecurity about themselves that people, like, I don't see you in that way. I think, like, a girl can be, like, the most beautiful person I've ever seen, and she can think she's so insecure. I just think that you just think about, like, I don't know how to explain it, but you're beautiful. And I went to therapy for 6 years. I don't know if anyone knows that about me, but I did therapy for so long. I'm still going to therapy. Both my grandparents are psychologists, and so we do therapy on the daily. And I think that also really helped me because I had a horrible relationship with my mom. I had a horrible relationship with my siblings. We were always fighting. I was always locking myself in the room. I wouldn't talk to anyone. I had no one. And then I talked about my feelings and Guys, it gets better. It gets better, I promise. People are very harsh and very rude and very mean. And the reason I love the statement, hurt people, because it's so true. If you're hurting inside and you have family issues and you see someone with a good family connection or that have friends, you're going to want to hurt them so they can feel your pain. You know what I'm saying? So you should always think, even if it's very difficult, because I know it's difficult to be nice to people that are hurting and you don't see that they're hurting, they just come off rude or mean. People want to feel loved. That's what we're here for. Everyone wants to feel loved. And sometimes a kid's family doesn't give that to them. And so they come off rude and mean. But just remember that everyone's going through something, and hurt people hurt people. So if they're hurting, you should just remember that. Hold space for them, we don't want to stoop down to people's level. So if someone's being really rude, you don't need to go down to their level. You can say, your feelings are valid. It's going to be okay. Or give them a hug. I've gotten into arguments with people, and I've just said, do you need a hug? And they've come crying. Because you never know what someone's going through. You know what I'm saying? Okay, my favorite animal is a sloth. I know it sounds really weird, and elephants. Elephants and sloths. Guys, it actually touches my heart. I don't know why, but I love them so much. I have a sloth stuffed animal on my bed that I sleep with at night. I have 4 elephant stuffed animals. Elephant has been my favorite animal since I was little. And then all of a sudden, I just started loving sloths. I just think they're so cute. They're the cutest thing in the entire world. So that's my favorite animal. Okay, I got a question. What's my type? So this kind of sounds weird, but I don't have a type at all. If you've seen every single guy I've talked to, they all look different. The one guy is super light skin, blonde hair, blue eyes. Another guy is dark skin, dark brown, curly hair, brown eyes. Another guy is Japanese, and his dad's white and his mom's Japanese. And the other guy is I literally don't have a type at all. My type is personality. If you are kind-hearted, if you know how to communicate, if you speak your feelings and don't I don't know how. I just want a kind, loving guy who doesn't give me mixed signals and knows how to communicate, because I feel like communication is the number one thing in a relationship. If you can't communicate, you can't have a relationship. Because how are you going to tell your partner that you're upset or you're sad or you're happy without communicating with them or hiding things? That's why people cheat. That's why people lie. That's why people steal, because they don't know how to communicate. So that's my type, guy that communicates. Do I like acting? Guys, I have something very, very interesting and fun, and I think you guys are going to love it, coming up on October 31st. It's something to do with acting, and I really want to tell you guys, but you guys will know very soon. So that's my answer to that. Okay, this is the last question I have for today, but how do you like moving all the time? Is it really chaotic? So if you don't know, I think I've moved about 16 times in my life. I was born in Chino Hills, and I lived in that house for 8 years. Then I moved to Florida, and then I moved back to California, then I moved to Hawaii. In Hawaii, I lived in 12 houses in Hawaii I lived in. I was moving, I think the longest one I stayed in was 2 years. The shortest one I stayed in is 3 weeks, and we did rent the house for a month, but it flooded. So I was moving all the time, and now I'm in California again. I personally love it because I don't have a lot of stuff. I take my paintings. I get all new bedding when I move. I get a vanity. I just take my hair products and my clothes. Also, guys, my closet, you're not prepared for it. I have a walk-in closet, and I have so much clothes. It's actually insane. I think that's my addiction, shopping. That's a really bad addiction I have. I love shopping. I love spending money. So, yeah. I love moving. It's very chaotic and it's very interesting, and I have a lot of siblings, so they're also crazy, but I love it. Okay, guys, that is all the questions we have time for today. I hope you enjoyed this kind of YouTube video. It's definitely different. I've never done this before, but let me know in the comments or message me on Instagram if you have any suggestions for the next YouTube video. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and guys, I love you. See you later.